In order, everyone please stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Hidma,
Here.
Shostel,
Here.
Fisher, Briggs,
Here.
Cavalier,
Here.
Bracken,
Here.
Plot,
Here.
Alt.
Here.
Okay, we have an oath of office tonight. Nate, we have a swearing in of an officer, so thanks.
Mayor, Council, I would like to introduce to you our newest addition to the Crookston Police Department, Officer Colby Wooten. Colby grew up in Badger, Minnesota, and later moved to Texas, where he graduated from Alpine High School. Colby attended Northland Community and Technical College in Peace River Falls, where he earned an associate's degree in criminal justice. He comes to us as a certified paramedic with several years of experience working as a paramedic for the Sanford Hospital in Peace River Falls. Colby comes from a long family of public service and is excited to continue his career at the Crookston Police Department. Colby, can you come right there? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. As a police officer with the Crookston Police Department,
As a police officer with the Crookston Police Department,
I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States
to uphold the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Minnesota,
and the state of Minnesota,
to impartially enforce
to impartially enforce
the laws of the United States,
the laws of the United States,
the state of Minnesota,
the state of Minnesota,
and the city of Crookston,
and the city of Crookston,
to work toward providing a safe environment
to work toward providing a safe environment
and enhancing the quality of life
and enhancing the quality of life
consistent with the values
consistent with the values
of our community,
of our community,
to adhere to the ethical values
to adhere to the ethical values
of professionalism,
of professionalism,
integrity,
integrity,
compassion,
compassion,
and respect,
and respect,
to faithfully discharge
to faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer
the duties of police officer
to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
to the best of my knowledge and abilities,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
and without any mental reservation.
and without any mental reservation.
Congratulations and welcome to the Crookston Police Department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Cody.
Cody.
Nate, do you have a key? Okay. I'll go look.
We have enough chairs for everybody. Go ahead, because he'll be back down before we start. So,
Okay.
Anyway, it's nice to wake up in the morning and see your face.
All right, this time for the Crookston Forum. We're open forum. Anyone would like to address council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda may come to the podium. State your first, last name, and address, please.
Bishop Jensen, 314 Leonard Avenue, Crookston, Minnesota. As you enter the upcoming budget discussions, I ask you to find the strength and perception to approach them without becoming overwhelmed by the challenges ahead. We ask that you refrain from heavy spending and keep the most critical needs of our community at the forefront. We, the people, are living through a time of concern and division, and we do not need additional strain placed upon residents. The gap between those that have and those that have not is growing and continues to grow. And locally here, we have a responsibility to do what we can to mitigate that divide. We need to move away from extreme spikes in spending, instead pursue consistency, stability, and responsible long-term planning. Please do what you can to uphold a city built on a community-first standard, prioritizing vital local services, supporting and charitable charitable community organizations that we all know are appropriate and needed to preserve the public resources and services that residents rely upon. I ask that you stay away from large additional or unanticipated costs, whatever possible. We should be careful not to create a significant new public expense without a clear and compelling reason. Our path forward should be focused on what we already have, maintain our existing infrastructure and essential services, and carefully evaluate any new projects before committing public funds. Projects should not become a major public expense unless they provide an immediate and meaningful value to residents or offer lasting benefits to the public health and safety, such as the essential recreational and safety infrastructure like the pool. This means remaining cautious about costly projects at this time. Regardless of whatever influence, recognition, or encouragement you may feel from your peers outside of this chamber, this is not the time to spend simply because we can. It is the time to demonstrate judgment and responsibility. We as a community need your dedication. We as a community need your dedication in reflecting upon great expenses. I ask that you give these considerations your full attention as you work through the budget, prioritizing the people who live here, protecting the services that they rely on and need, and that you steer away from any financial burdens that we may ensue here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. No presentations. This brings us to the agenda. Does anyone wish to add anything to tonight's agenda? Can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second your motion.
Clayton and Don, thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Hidma,
Aye.
Shostel,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Brecken,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Alt. Aye.
Okay, motion carries. This brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Joseph. Is it
Second.
Second by Derek. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hidma,
Aye.
Shostel,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Brecken,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Alt. Aye.
Okay, motion carries. No public hearings. Regular agenda, Ashley, please.
Yes, Your Honor. 8.01 is a resolution declaring a portion of city-owned parcel 92 as surplus property and authorizing its sale and conveyance to the state of Minnesota for highway improvements associated with state project number 6002-76RW.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this?
So moved, Your Honor.
We got Don, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Clayton. Thank you. Discussion. Darren, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. As we've seen at the last several council meetings, this again is an easement for the Highway 2 corridor project scheduled for 2027. However, this one is an actual permanent easement allowing for the sale of a small parcel of land located on the corner of 101 North Main Street, formerly known as the Z Place property. The portion of land for the intersection build out is a triangle piece, 15 feet by 20 feet, or approximately 150 square feet. So it's a very small corner portion that they need for that build out. Purchase price from the state per appraisal value is $800.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I roll call, please?
Hidma,
Aye.
Shostel,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Brecken,
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Alt. Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.02 is a resolution certifying unpaid charges for the North Acres Mobile Home Park and the Carmen Terrace Mobile Home Park are more than 45 days delinquent in payments in its municipal water utility service, Your Honor.
Okay, this is discussion only. No. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
By Don, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank by Joseph, thank you. Now discussion. Tanner's gonna give a little update on this.
Yes, so,
the mobile home parks referenced in the resolution are delinquent on their bills. Due to the number of people that they service, the city was reluctant to just discontinue service and turn off water. Public Works looked into and asked me to look into possible alternatives to just discontinuing water services, and this is one of those alternatives. This would essentially certify to the county auditor that these charges are unpaid. They would be collected in the same manner as any other tax through the property tax payments in the future. The council's choices today are to either approve this resolution. They could not approve the resolution and ask that the services be discontinued, as is our standard practice. Or if the council would like additional time to consider their options, you could ask for additional time as well. But that's the purpose of this resolution today, is essentially to get payment on some delinquent water utility services.
Thank you, Tanner. We have Micah and Kathy from the North Acres and Carmen Terrace mobile home. They're gonna have a little feedback here. Thanks for being here, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me, council. So as I get into this, I think the normal thing that we need to keep in mind, we're not trying to circumvent anything. We're not trying to not pay anything. We just want accountability, not only in our end, but the city's end as well. So I want to start by being very clear why we're here, not asking the city to forgive legitimate water bill. We're not trying to avoid paying for water we actually consumed. We're asking to be treated like any other customer. We want to be billed accurately for water we actually used. We want to be able to understand and verify how that bill was calculated. The issue actually started long before the current dispute. In April or May of 2025, in that time frame, the park paid approximately $2,000 for an independent meter audit. The audit identified nearly 20 non-working meters, more than 15 of which were serving occupied homes. We notified the city about those meters on May 9, 2025. Those residents continued to use water while their meters were not functioning properly. That meant there was no reliable way to accurately allocate the water to the individual homes. We repeatedly asked that the meters be addressed. On June 4th, 2025, we were told that the city had only 2 employees servicing more than 3,000 connections, that the meters would be addressed when the staff and emergencies allow. The meters were eventually corrected around the middle of June. Since taking over the park, we have paid an estimated of more than $155,000 for water that we believe we did not consume. In just the last 12 months, that number is more than $32,000. Those are significant numbers. But the biggest issue is that the consumption numbers themselves, they don't make sense. For example, North Acres was showing daily consumption of approximately 13,000 to 15,000 gallons. Then later dropped to approximately 3,000 gallons with no corresponding leak being identified or repair being made. We saw similar inconsistencies in Carmen Terrace. At one point, the park experienced a reported 300,000, I'm going to repeat it, 300,000 gallon loss over November and December. Equivalent to give you some reference, 30 average size above ground pools. Now, if that were the case, our tenants would be swimming. They weren't. Later, the loss dropped to approximately 21,000 gallons. Again, without a documented repair that would explain the dramatic change, all that we got billed for. Our monthly bills have also fluctuated significantly. Approximately, 1,600, then 1,300, then 600, then 200, and then back up to 900. Without a documented leak repair or other explanation as they count, that accounts for those changes. So I asked a simple question: if the explanation of this park, if the explanation is that the park was losing hundreds of thousands of gallons through leaks, where did this water go? And if the explanation is that the meter readings are, or were inaccurate, why were we billed based on those readings if they are truly inaccurate? Importantly, these concerns aren't simply assumptions that we're making. The water department itself has identified through email several possible reasons for zero or inaccurate readings, including wiring problems, defective meters, meters or transmitters being swapped between homes, plumbing bypasses, and meters not properly communicating. The city has acknowledged that these issues can result in incorrect or zero readings. Those aren't assumptions we're making. Those are explanations provided to us by the water department itself. That's why documentation is so important. We have repeatedly asked for underlying information necessary to reconcile these bills. We're not trying to avoid anything. We've asked for individual tenant consumption, total main meter consumption, and the explanation of how the city arrived at the amounts they were billed, that we were billed, excuse me. We have not received the documents necessary for us to independently reconcile those numbers, even though they've been asked for multiple times. We shouldn't have to simply trust the bill when the city's own staff has acknowledged that individual meters can produce zero or inaccurate readings. There is another important piece to this. The main meters were pulled for testing from June 9th to June 16th, where we had zero reads, nothing. They were pulled to have independent testing, a third party to test to see if they're legitimate, they're working. We have asked for those results for that third party testing. We have not received them. If the city is confident that those main meters were accurate, simply want to see the testing results, that's it. Back up the claim, we're right there with you, okay? At one point, we even agreed to pay, which we did, $50 an hour for city staff to manually provide meter reads for residents who were receiving zero consumption bills. We were willing to pay for that information because our goal has always been the same. We want to accurately bill our residents for the water they actually use. But if that information is being manually compiled, reconciled, or interpreted, then we also need to understand how its accuracy is truly being verified. And that brings me to what I believe is the most important point of all of this. We don't want special treatment. It's not what we're asking for. We're asking for the same thing any customer would if they received the same type of information. Should they, I'm gonna start that over. We're asking for the same thing that any customer should to be able to expect from their utility provider. An accurate bill, a reasonable documentation showing that how the bill is calculated, just as all of us receive. If we consume the water, we're gonna pay for it. We're not trying to get out of that. But we should not expect to pay for water simply because the city's billing system says we used it when the city has not provided the information necessary to verify the amount. Our request is reasonable. We're asking for a 50% adjustment to the disputed water charges from December forward, because we have not been provided sufficient document to establish that those charges were accurately calculated. Going forward, we also want a transparent billing process that allows us to reconcile the park's total main meter consumption against individual resident consumption and identify the actual water loss occurring within the park. We're not asking the city to take a loss on any of this. We are asking the city to take responsibility for ensuring that the meters, readings, and billing provided to its customers, not just us, are accurate and verifiable. At the end of the day, we don't want a discount, we don't want special treatment, and we don't want to avoid paying our bill. We simply want to pay for the water we actually consumed. And we want the documentation to prove that the amount we're being charged is truly accurate. Thank you.
Thank you. So, I'd like to hear from Chuck.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi.
That was a lot to unpack. Where would you like me to start?
Well, this goes back to 2025.
Okay.
So I mean, if you're pulling meters and reading them, or, you know, if they have an issue being accurate or not accurate, or,
So I'm gonna go explain how things were explained to me about how things were ran in 2025. So I don't know if it's hearsay or not, but from the staff, the two gentlemen who are on the water department, including prior employees, have always stated that meters there seem to jump from trailer to trailer. Sometimes they move without the city knowing that they move. Adjustments are made, straight piping is done. Transmitters are unplugged. So we reviewed the information that was given to us from the Keel team or the trailer park company. And we took that information and presented it to two different software companies that we used, Census, who provide software and the meters that we use out there. And then Tyler Pro, which is the billing software, they speak together. We went online, spoke with both of them. We even had a Census tech come here. Both have conferred that everything is being processed accurately. When Christy from the Keel team asked in more detail, how can some of these errors occur, I sent her a list of possibilities. This gentleman presented those possibilities, and those are all possibilities. Whether or not they are accurate, we don't know. Our crew can go out there and we can calibrate the meters. We can check to see how they're running. When data is not coming back to the city accurately, our clerk can put in, not actually, but our billing clerk can put in a job order and our guys can go out and check. However, we are down to two gentlemen, and we have water breaks, we have other issues. We get to them when we can. The deal I worked out with Christy was we will keep track and look up your data from my computer from one point to another point and continue going forward. And if it truly is a matter of incorrect data, we can work on getting a refund. I did tell her during that time that she would need to continue to pay up her bills to stay on track to avoid late charges and the possibility of shutting the water off. I do not remember her requesting to see the third-party testing. If she did, maybe it was an oversight on my part. I am more than willing to send it to her. I've sent it to Darren and other personnel of the city, so they are aware of it.
So question, you said there might be evidence of taking water out before the meters?
So we have two main meters, one going into North Acres and one going into Carmen Terrace. All the water that goes into those trailer parks have to flow through those two meters before they go to the individual tenants. All the tenants have their own separate meters underneath that they pay for and they get billed from. We have come across trailers underneath, not myself personally, but the staff, where they have seen straight piping.
Tell me what straight piping is.
That's where you remove the meter and have a pipe that just flows straight through. So it bypasses the meter.
Okay, so do you have pictures and evidence of that, or is it just?
I would have to ask the crew. They've seen it. I have not seen any documented
I would think something like that, if there's a meter removed.
Yep.
And it's gotta be documented and turned over to the police department. Because that's theft.
Sure, yeah. I would have to look back into our work orders to see if any of those are in there.
So I mean, I guess I would like you to, I would like to table this personally until Chuck can address all the situations in his letter and come back and report his findings to all of us. And then, you know, there has to be some type of historical data to say this is how much was used between this time when everything was working fine.
Yep.
And then to currently, and then we have to, if we have to impose some type of strict regulations, if there's a meter that's been removed, it's gotta be like, it's gotta be set to a rate that it's cost prohibitive for somebody to do that. They're gonna have to pay $5,000 fine. I don't know what is legal to do, but something to that effect.
And the tenants do pay when a meter is broken or they are required to have a new meter.
But in this software that you have, do you get notifications that when a meter has been disconnected?
Yes, it doesn't tell us it's been disconnected. It just tells us that there is no read.
Is there such a feature that can be added that if there's something is severed, that we can go check that right away to help get ahead of that if
That I
meters
do
are
not know. I would have to look into that.
How many tenants are there?
What was that?
How many tenants are there?
Let's let Kathy, she's got,
162 between both parks.
I'm sorry, you're saying I shouldn't ask a question?
well, no, I'm saying Kathy is, she was waiting to, so,
It's okay.
go ahead,
There's
Kathy.
162 in both parks that are off.
Can I ask a question for either one of you? Just so I'm not educated in this. So do the residents then pay you and then you pay the city? So the residents
Direct bill.
pay directly
To
to
the
city?
Yeah.
And so have any of the residents, so we're saying all of the residents have stopped paying or?
No, just the management.
But our main water feeds the residents
So if you have hundred and 62
to
residents,
each one of their houses.
Yes, so
We have a main water.
the main water.
Offshoots to each one of the residents from our main.
And then,
That we
but they're
service
paying
through the
this,
city.
they're paying the city directly or you're paying the city directly?
So what they do is all the tenants have their own water bill for their own consumption.
Okay.
And then whatever the difference is, then gets billed back to the park
From the
itself.
main versus the.
Okay, so if somebody had taken that meter off and that water was coming through,
It would
then
automatically
it goes
go
to
the
you
park.
guys because there's that difference.
And we've caught that, the straight piping that we're talking about, we've caught people do that and made them change. Called the city immediately.
Then what have you done with all that water? It's an estimate at this point, because you have no idea how much water has went through.
The park has to pay.
Okay,
It all falls to us, and that's why it's so important that we have these accurate reads and we have these results, which we can see the results from Xylem, we can see the main meters that we have from the city as well. Anything you guys see, we see.
so what I'm trying to get at, if you have 162 residents,
Yes.
and if you have 1 or 2 meters that have straight piping, that's a pretty small percent. So it'd be hard to imagine that 1 or 2 families would use that much water. So I wonder if we're thinking in the wrong direction here. There might be a few bad apples in the overall barrel, so to
But
speak.
We've caught
And
those.
we
We've-
have done
we've
water
mitigated
assessments
that. Yeah.
ourselves.
So
We've been underneath all of the homes. He actually did the inspection himself, going underneath all of the homes, checking the pipes, looking for leaks, anything like that in December. Because we had such a high usage in December.
Because the reads were so.
They were so high. So he's up there in December here in Crookston with the winds kicking.
Some of the frozen home was directed by Cody and his brother to, in order for a resident to get a meter put back on their house, the water has to be unthawed. So I asked Cody if we could straight pipe them until they get there and I'd send them a message. I got messages on my phone to Cody whenever I straight piped them to go and put a meter back on the homes.
Yeah, we were directed by staff.
I talked to Cody, made sure it was okay before I did it, but it's winter on them homes. I've only been doing it this last winter.
Yeah.
Before that, I don't know what's going on with Cody and them, they moved around.
Yeah.
By previous.
So it's a step and a fix.
But it was a simple fix, so all the ones that now that's been straight pipe that I know of, I've always texted Cody.
Communicated in order to make sure.
So I've been in contact with Cody with water department.
Okay. And the number of tenants that number hasn't really changed much across those last 2 or 3 years, the number of tenants?
There's always been a turnover with.
Yeah, but it's stayed pretty consistent overall for
But-
that number, right?
So turnover of people have been there.
We've had, within the last year, more consistency,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I know that prior to, there was quite a few vacant homes, quite a few people who would be in and out, so on forth, so on and so forth. But we've had pretty stable numbers for occupancy within both parks, since August of last year.
And the last thing I wanted to pick up, something that you brought up over here was the quantification, the quantity of water that was utilized. How does it compare from 2024 to 2025? I mean, is there a spike up during that time, or is it consistent?
So I would have to go to Lynn and we could bring up the data. We are able to see, I wouldn't call them data trends, but we are able to pull data that shows different usage and the usage per trailer that's being recorded at those meters. Even if the meter, I mean, a simple running toilet, you could see 75 gallons an hour, up to 100 gallons an hour flowing through that toilet, depending on how bad it's running. So it does vary. In the winter time at the trailer court, I know that I think there's been instruction, higher usage during winter because they are told to run the tap or like triple
Prevent
water.
freezing
prevent
time.
freezing.
We always encourage, we did a winterization project last year where we actually helped individuals go underneath their homes, install heat tape, make sure insulation was there, make sure that all the pipes that were exposed were protected. But then we also do give guidance because when the winter gets too cold, no matter how much you try to winterize your home, you could potentially have frozen pipes. So we do give them information as to how to prevent that.
So was there any houses that froze up and had broken pipes?
Yes.
How
there's-
many?
So last winter we had 7, thank you.
So 7.
Yeah.
So water continues to run when them houses freeze up so that could be a huge possibility.
Well, it freezes and it kicks out the side of the meter. So the meter at the bottom of the body will split open and it will actually blow out the side of the trailer house. We go over, we shut it off on the main valve, so there's no
When you
water being
find
able to
it.
go underneath there. You absolutely, when those mains break, it sprays the neighbor's house. You know, you know when those meters pop.
Usually it breaks when you're on top.
But during this time, you had 7.
Yeah, last year 7. The year before that, it was 23 in North Acres and 16 in Carmen Terrace.
So I think those would be some good numbers if we're
Yeah.
checking history to see what the
Yeah.
comparison is for gallons that were charged with 23 versus 7 from this year.
Yeah.
To see if that account of what you're talking about is accurate for the loss of water.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I hear what you're saying, and I'd like Chuck to come back with, and address every one of the things and figure out
Absolutely.
what we could do to come up maybe with, some type of justification as to, why this might be happening, and then and whatever it shows, and we kind of go from there.
Okay.
Chuck, how many, or I guess I should ask you, I know we said residents, but how many homes do you have between?
So occupied homes.
On average, yes.
Yeah, the occupied homes right now, I think it's 162.
Okay, so
For both
Gotcha.
parks. But we do have 2 on the market in Carmen Terrace and 2 on the market in North Acres.
what is, Chuck, what is the average usage for a home in a month in Crookston?
In Crookston, I don't wanna be off on that, I don't wanna misspeak.
Okay.
I would have to
Just
look
because
that
I'm wondering,
up. I can
like,
bring that
a
data.
given, I mean, a home is a home, but a family is a family,
Well,
like, you're gonna be
yeah.
using about the same amount of water.
Well, I live in the
There's
park
single.
and I have a 3-bedroom house. My average bill is usually about $45. That is with the light bill, cause
You have to pay for the lights,
Yeah.
the pest control, all of that, even though the park doesn't benefit from it. The park doesn't get sprayed for pest control, the park has their own street lights that they have to pay for independently, you know, but my average bill is usually about $45.
Cause it would just be interesting to also just see what those different averages are. My next question is, you said if it figured out, you're happy to pay it, so have you been putting funds into an escrow?
We have not. But we're helpful. So if we needed to, we can have funds available once we decide.
So you-
Once we uncover.
Have you been paying like, any amount during this time period or no?
I would ask that we put the funds into an
Yeah,
escrow.
just that, we were paid, that's what I'm saying,
Up
before
to that
that,
point.
we just wanted to figure out what was happening with this building, which we've got no information.
Is the main concern water that's not being accounted for within the park, or are you also questioning the meters coming into the park as well?
The individual meters, we kind of identify those for, the homes. The main meters, everything stayed pretty consistent from what we've seen. It's
Okay.
just, we had these incredible spikes that were taking place with no plausible explanation that we were getting from anybody as to why it happened. So when we asked that question and we didn't get answers, it made us question a lot.
I guess I
We are
would be,
willing to pay, as long as we're able to go through, like I said, we're not trying to hold anything back, but we need answers as to what that was and why that took place.
I guess I would be happy to go with Delane and table it until the next meeting if we can get some answers and averages and all that. But I would like to see the funds put into an escrow for that.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Yep.
I agree.
I would second that, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, rescind your motion.
So we have Councilmember Cavalier first made the motion. This is as the resolution stands. And we had Councilmember Chastel seconded. If they would like to rescind their motions, they can and go and have another first and second for a table. So we can either go forward and if they would like to rescind. Would you like to rescind your motion? Okay,
So.
and then you can
A
ask.
motion to table this until the next council meeting. Okay, Don and Derek.
So we receive information.
And could, whatever, Chuck, whatever you find, could we get that before the meeting so we could look it over, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I just had to ask a quick question. What type of data, there's a lot of data out there, would you guys specifically?
I mean, I would like you to address his question, so take what he read to us, get a copy of that and kind of go down to address them and then if we can, you know, maybe
See what the usage.
figure out, and then one of the things I'd like, if you can extrapolate through a good year that we've had and how many homes were in that year and take like an average, and then we go into the year that we're unsure about, how many homes were in there during that time and kind of maybe come up with something there and.
I think it's important to know, I'm sorry, is it not for me anymore?
It's okay.
It's open
You
for
can-
still. I think it's important to note the amount of meters that are actually working and installed at that point too compared to today, so we're not running off of two separate numbers. As long as it's comparable to what we have going on as well.
And then it'd be also to point out when these were straight piped, it's unknowable how much water that could have gone through.
I mean, in
I mean,
technicality, is that not
it's-
stealing
it's-
from you?
Right, well, and that's the reason why we did do a violation for individuals who we found who did
Because we
not
could have
consent.
taken them that next
Yeah.
step, but we didn't wanna do that to
Yeah.
one of our tenants.
So yeah, and I think we
missed
need
that
to,
point. Yeah.
like I said, work with Tanner to find out what we can do as a city to put stronger enforcement in for that to happen, and then that would get billed to the trailer park and they would have to pay that fine, I guess. You know, and they can work it out with their tenants however, but something to look at. But
I think the data, I'm interested in the data that's just looking at usage across years.
Okay.
And then see how that compares to the time span that we're having an issue with. And the second part I'd be interested in knowing is the functionality of the meters used. Because if the meters aren't functioning correctly, I mean, you have some data to share that data, then there's no reason thinking about, bad players. That whole conversation goes to the side. So it's the accuracy of those meters, that would be helpful. Thank you for
Are we able
coming.
to, I guess, also break down per meter what it is? I mean, like, is there a couple houses where you're like, these ones are spiking significantly?
We
or-
have a breakdown through the city per meter.
Yeah.
You can access that right now. I keep track of that every day.
But I'm also like, is there a house where all of a sudden it like
Yes, I see that
decreases
every day.
significantly
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yes.
well, what happened?
And we contact them.
And then we get,
If it's high, if it's low, we contact them.
And what do they say?
We problem solve. So
So-
you go out, if it's high, we say, is there a meter, is your hose running, is your toilet running, is
Yeah.
your sink ready, is your toilet? We have steps and protocol to all of this, because water loss, it's huge for not only tenants, but us as a park as well.
So have you
management.
seen those change then? Have you been able to resolve those things with your tenants? When you,
Based off of meter reads and based off of what we have installed,
Yes.
yeah, in those cases, absolutely.
Yeah, so usually when it's indicated, I reach out to the tenant themselves. I go out personally, I'll shut off the water if need be, go into the home.
With their
see if the
permission,
toilet
yeah.
running. Yeah, it's obviously based upon the tenant's abilities when they're
Mhm.
available. So I do all kind of assess, determine whether or not it's leaking under the house, if it's inside of the house, what kind of steps need to take place, if they need help getting resources in order to get these things fixed. We've been very hands-on when it comes to trying to assist our tenants because there's cracks that have turned into big issues. So a small leak can easily turn into a geyser in 5 minutes if it's left unattended, unprotected, and that can cause serious damage to the infrastructure, it can cause damage to that person's home. So we take it very seriously.
We get those reads every morning.
Yeah, and if I can't handle it, then I reach out and find somebody else who can.
I want to thank you for the.
Okay, we, good to move forward? You got the information you need, Chuck?
yeah.
Your Honor, I just wanted to do,
How far back do you want for years?
It's like
Because it's
23.
good. So 23,
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you guys using meters at that point, 5 years back, these specific
That
meters?
wasn't
Okay,
Check it out,
Overseeing it.
check it out.
And then is there anything you need from us?
I just wanna make, I mean, I guess. for
Your
me,
Honor,
just-
I would like to, for the record, would you be able to state your guys' names, first and last name for the?
yeah,
Yes, perfect, that would be.
Kathleen Gordon. I'm the on-site property manager for the Crookston Trailer Parks.
Mhm.
And
Micah Nordine, Nordin. I'm the regional manager.
your name, sir?
Benjamin Preston.
Okay.
He's an independent contractor.
Preston. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Again, so that we are aware, what is on the table right now is we have Councilmember Cavalier made the motion, second by Councilmember Bracken, to table the resolution certifying the unpaid charges for the mobile home parks until a different date, Your Honor. So
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
need to have roll call.
Thank you. Thank you for your.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Hivma,
Aye.
Shostel,
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Brecken.
Aye.
Clot,
Aye.
Alt.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Chuck, when were the new meters put in? I don't know if you gotta go back 5 years, maybe
Too far.
23, 24.
Sorry, what was that? When were the new meters put in?
Yeah,
I would have to do the research. I wasn't.
I knew you weren't here, but-
23, I wasn't overseeing the water department yet.
It's been 5 years.
I mean, all I care about is a couple years of consistent data
yeah.
and then something to compare the inconsistent data to.
I would just like also to know how it compares to just the average across Crookston.
We have our own sets of data, would you want to see that as well?
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's work with Chuck, I think.
So
Yeah,
we've already,
that's fine.
Yep.
we've already moved. So
No, like work with each other.
I would just
Oh,
request,
work with you. I thought you meant like, hey.
Let's move
All
on.
right,
Your Honor.
okay.
Keep moving
Let's
on.
keep moving
more
on.
than 1 year though. One
Right, right.
year isn't enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
All right, council reports, anything, Darren?
I think I put it in my report, but again, I'd just like to thank everyone who came out to vote during the primary, everyone who attended 19 and the Crookston Ox Cart festivities. Thank you to Ashley and all the election judges and staff for helping with the primary election. The Crookston Police Department and 19 Committee for organizing and planning 19 the Ox Cart Committee for organizing and planning Ox Cart. And to all the public organizations and businesses that participated in, helped, or donated to Night to Unite and or Oxcart. Again, without the support of our wonderful community, these events would not be possible. So again, thank you to everybody that helped out and to anybody I may have missed. So thank you.
Thanks. Don, anything?
Yeah, I think the Shriners Parade and the other parade were really exceptional. And thank the city who organized that. We got a lot of turnout, people. And so thank you for all your work that you have done. Yep, thanks.
Thanks, Don. Derek,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Lane,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Wendy?
I'll second Darren's sentiments about Oxford Days and the Night to Unite, both super successful, fun things that we had going on, so couldn't do it without everyone in our community.
Thank you. Morgan?
We had the Parks and Rec meeting. We went through the summer numbers, had a really good turnout for all of the events, so thank you to Parks and Rec for all of the hard work they did. Also giving a shout out to the Baseball Association for all of their help with the tournaments that we hosted this year. It sounds like there was a lot of great feedback from all of the communities that came here, and it was one of, the best areas that they've been to. So I know that the Baseball Association really helped out with that, so thank you to them on that. We are still waiting on the final pool report, so that did not come out there. And the fall fund finder should be out relatively soon. I think they were hoping within the next week or so on that. And then again, yes, I'd like to just thank you for Night to Unite. That was a really good time, so everyone involved there. And then everybody for Oxcart Days, I feel like I would need to clone myself like 3 times to be able to hit every event. So I'm exhausted. So I want to thank everyone for that. That was fantastic. So great job, everyone.
Thank you. Joseph?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, a little ditto there. Special thanks to the Oxcart Committee for helping to make this year Cart Day a reality. The next meeting for the Cheetah Board will be on Wednesday. It's an unusual time at 5 p.m. if you want to attend that. And that's to review proposals for the civil engineering for the Casey's Housing Project, 5 o'clock Wednesday.
Thank you. Layton?
Everybody else pretty much covered it, so it was an excellent event. Weather was perfect, so turned out very good. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yeah, everybody pretty much said everything. But also hats off to Scott's Park and Rec crew. Couldn't do it without them. So they do an excellent job making sure the trash is empty, and I'm not sure all the work done keeping the bees away, but
Science put up, yeah.
it's that time of year. That is all I have. Just a reminder, we do have a Ways and Means meeting tonight, so nothing else become before council. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. to order, please. Monday, April 17, 2026. We are going through nonprofits, and we've got like 7 or 8 of them, so we're gonna keep them down to about 10 minutes each for presentation, so we can get through them all. So anyway, we already did the budget discussion, but Chris wants to fill us in a little bit more in detail, and she brought,
Jamie Sprintomatic.
Jamie back with us, the finance / HR. So thanks for being here.
Yes, Your Honor, if you remember, when we went through the budget meeting, discussion, the proposed budget for the library, that budget hasn't changed. We have met with Chris a couple times in reference to that budget. We've gone through each line item. That has not changed, but at that last budget meeting for the library, it was brought up or asked, what does, we call this Crookston C shares, the large amount that we pay each year to Lake Agassiz Regional Library. Out of those shares, what services are provided to the city of Crookston or for the Lake Agassiz Regional Library? So that brings us to this conversation here today. Thank you, Jamie, for coming today and discussing what our shares go for, helping out the library.
So I wasn't here at the last meeting. I apologize for that. For the record, I didn't know you were gonna be addressing this particular topic that night. Always more than happy to come and answer any questions that I can for you. Again, I'm Chris Boyk. I'm the director of the Crookston Public Library. And what we brought tonight was basically a Laurel revenue costs by signatory handout here that Jamie can address for you, with you, to answer any questions you might have. And this is just a sheet that just shows basically your library system in action. What it basically looks like, you know, how it, I think, is of value to be a part of a regional system like Agassiz Regional Library. And then on the other side, this is exactly what, you know, the impact is, the library's impact here in the community and the surrounding community, the greater community, Crookston community. So as a whole, it talks a little bit up on the upper right-hand corner on this, your library system in action, talks about where the money comes from. You'll see that the majority of that money, the funding, does come from signatories. That consists of 12 cities and counties, and that 21.68% of that comes from the state of Minnesota. And then there are some other smaller amounts that come from other sources. On the whole, we share delivery, we share resources, we share the books, e-books, e-magazines, the actual DVDs, books, audiobooks, all of those kinds of things. Being part of a regional system means really being in partnership, like we are with Crookston. We are in partnership with each other, basically to share these different resources. And we provide all of these different services to our community. So specifically in Crookston, nearly 1 in 3 Crookston residents are library card holders. 45,789 books, movies, and other print items circulated in 2025. Over 18,000 ebooks, audiobooks, and e-magazines were borrowed in 2025. We had 377 new Crookston card holders in that year. We have, computers at the library were used close to 5,000 times in 2025, in addition to 3,411 wireless internet sessions. And because we have, I'm drawing a blank on our wireless systems that we have. Anyway, and then customers printed almost 20,000 pages in 25. We had about 3,864 attendees enjoying 148 programs in 2025. And we had about 1,657 attendees using the meeting room 472 times. We also utilize that meeting room, as you know, for the Family Resource Center. That is in cooperation with Tri-Valley, formerly Polk County Social Services, that started that program up. And recently, I think James can tell you that once again, we through the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund, legacy programming money, we were once again sponsors of the concert Friday evening by Robbie V. So we continue to have that type of an impact as well on the community in terms of trying to partner with and be a part of what we're offering Crookston. So with that, I'll let Jamie take over.
All right, so yes, Jamie Sprincenatic, Director of Finance for the library system. 2027 is seeing a big change in Laurel because our board decided to do a change to our, basically how we're funded. And I just wanted to briefly cover that so that people understand what you're paying for, why you're paying for it. And it will be a brief history. So for the first 35 years, the Laurel budget was very cost basis. It would, there's 12 signatories, 5 cities, 7 counties. And they would charge out basically salaries and benefits, anything you could get directly that would be attributed to that signatory would get allocated to them. And then a few times a year, they would survey everybody, like in Crookston, Detroit Lakes, Moorhead, the signatory cities. They would survey everybody who came into the library and say, are you a city resident? If you're not a city resident, are you a county resident? And they'd come up with a ratio of city to county. And then they would do an allocation of the direct costs of, like, say, Crookston to Polk County. And then they would allocate everything else on a kind of a checkouts and property valuation in the signatory area and population. And they would come up with a final cost, and that's what everybody paid. In 1996, they decided to kind of simplify things, and they went, okay, we have this basis of cost from 1995, but going forward, we're not gonna do that cost calculation anymore. We're just gonna, every time we need an increase, we'll run it through this use-based formula so that based 80% on customer checkouts, and then 10% on property valuation and 10% on population. And so for the last 30 years, they've been applying this only when there's increases. Basically, the highest use places are getting the increase. The lower, and otherwise it was just the cost staying the same, but we would do the increase. And then this year, the Laurel board was like, not totally sure that seems to be equitable. Why, you know, some places that don't have a lot of locations were maybe paying a lot more than places that had more locations. So the board asked us to go through and just do a quick analysis. And so we went through, and the sheet I gave you is where we're at today. The top half of it is basically going back and doing what they were doing for the first 35 years and attributing the cost back to each signatory. So the column you would care about is the third from the right, which is Crookston, and then maybe Polk County next to it. So we went through and allocated all the direct costs back to each signatory. And then instead of surveying customers, we just looked at the number of checkouts at each location. So at the Crookston Library, the yellow line across the top, 75% of the checkouts come from Crookston residents. Just about 25% comes from Polk County residents. So that direct cost, we'd allocated 25% back to Polk County. And then we still kept that same use-based formula that we've been using for the last 30 years on all the other expenses and came up with a total cost. And then we applied a 7% increase to everybody just to compare what they're paying to what the cost is. So if you look at the bottom line, or not the bottom line, but the total line there about halfway down, you see like Becker County plus 50,000, Detroit Lakes plus 26,000, Polk County minus 112,000, Crookston minus 20,000. So in theory, the board wanted to just say, okay, we're gonna bill everybody that extra amount so that everybody gets to zero, but they realized that that was gonna be a huge burden on a couple of the signatories. So they are doing a 4-year transition period, which is the very bottom section of this. So like for Crookston, we have our 7% increase that we need. There's another $2,000 adjustment, which is in theory about a 25% of the negative that is below the cost right now. It's a little bit less because if I applied this formula, it was more money than we needed. But in the end, we're just asking for this $20,000 increase, and you can see some of the signatories are significantly low, some are significantly high, but over the next 4 years, the goal is to get everybody so that they're paying for what the cost of what their locations are. And sorry, that's a lot of information in a very short time. But if you have questions about it, basically, we're just going to most of the signatories that want to speak to us, and we're just saying, if you can't meet our request, let's just talk about it as soon as we can, and we'll see if we can make adjustments to somehow get things to be where they need to be for the coming year.
Any questions?
Looks good.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, thank you. Jamie, appreciate it.
Very good.
Okay, now it's nonprofit presentations. We have Tribe Valley Opportunity Council first.
Do you want me at the table or the podium?
You can sit at the table.
Whatever
Okay.
you'd like, yep.
So good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. My name is Elizabeth Hensard. I'm the Transportation Programs Director with Tri-Valley Opportunity Council. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you about public transportation in Crookston, and more importantly, about the role that local support plays in maintaining this service. So Tri-Valley operates the bus, providing public transportation that is available to everyone. There are no age limits or income requirements to ride. We serve older adults, people with disabilities, employees, students, and individuals without access to a vehicle, or just anyone that needs transportation. Our goal is to provide safe, reliable, and affordable transportation that allows people to get where they need to go and remain active and independent in our community. So Crookston is one of our largest transportation service areas, and we provide a significant amount of service to the community. Currently, we operate 8 routes Monday through Friday, with service beginning as early as 5:45 a.m. until 8:30 p.m. at night. On Saturdays, we have 3 routes that run 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and on Sundays, 7:30 to 1:30. Altogether, we provide approximately 92 hours of public transportation service each week in just the Crookston community. Right now, we have 5 propane buses and 6 gas buses. And the number of people using our service really demonstrates the importance of public transportation in Crookston. So last year, we provided 88,988 rides just within the city of Crookston. And looking at more recent service, as of July 31st, we've provided 54,969 rides in Crookston and traveled 116,499 miles. The fact that we are providing this volume of service shows that there is a real need for public transportation in Crookston. So, which brings me to, why are people riding the bus? So we estimate that approximately 28% of our rides are for medical purposes, 26% are for employment, 30% are for shopping, and 16% are for going to local schools, UMC and public schools, as well as summer activities. We do offer a bus for kids, getting them to and from their park and rec activities. And then when you look at these percentages, it really does tell a story of why public transportation matters. More than a quarter of our rides are helping people get to medical appointments and healthcare services. Another quarter are helping people get to work. Nearly a third of our rides are for shopping, which includes groceries, pharmacies, and other necessities. Our service also helps people get to school and summer activities, providing transportation for students and families. Another important part of our service is affordability. We work hard to keep fares low so that transportation still remains accessible to the people who need it. But providing this level of service comes with significant operating costs: fuel, maintenance, buses, insurance, drivers, dispatching,
and all other costs associated with keeping public transportation system operating safely. And this is where local support becomes extremely important. So beginning in 2027, our required local match for public transit funding will increase from 10% to 15%. And that increase creates a significant additional financial responsibility for our transportation providers. So for the 2027 budget year, Tri-Valley is respectfully requesting $19,000 to assist with the local share of operating and capital expenses for public transportation. When you look at the amount of service being provided, I think the value of that investment becomes clear. The city of Crookston is receiving approximately 92 hours of public transportation service every week, including evenings and weekends. I looked back at our software database that we started in 2016 and was able to pull out the data of all the riders that have had a Crookston address in our system. So for 10 years, we have had individual riders. We've had 7,251 individual riders ride our public transportation systems. Not all of them are Crookston residents, but the majority of them are. So chances are you know somebody that has rode or used our bus. So in closing, we are very proud of the transportation service we provide in Crookston, and we appreciate the partnership we have with the city. Our request for $19,000 for 2027 is an investment in keeping transportation available, affordable, and reliable for the people of Crookston. The city is not simply helping fund buses. You're helping fund access, independence, employment, healthcare, and quality of life for people who live in this community. We appreciate the city's consideration and continued support of public transportation. Thank you for your time today. I'm happy to answer any questions and provide additional information about our routes, ridership, operating costs, and transportation needs we are seeing in the city of Crookston.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Question.
Very
Yes.
You say the majority of Crookston residents are what percent did you say roughly of our Crookston residents?
Of all of transportation. So when I said earlier that we had 7,251 that's individual riders that have had a Crookston address, what I'm saying is sometimes we get people off like Jefferson and then they need a ride from here going someplace else. So maybe they're not staying in Crookston, but the majority of them are permanent residents of Crookston. But yeah, overall, this is our largest area. That was all Crookston Crookston addresses.
Okay.
So we've had way more than that, yeah.
So do you only service within the city limits of Crookston, is that correct?
We do have service within Polk County. It's limited to, we go to like Grand Forks, Fargo. We'll bring into the city of Crookston from Polk County on certain days. But
Oh,
the majority
okay.
of our service is in town. Yeah,
So we're servicing some Polk County residents.
correct, yeah. This is just Crookston,
Okay.
those stats, yeah.
So have you approached Polk County for
Yep.
assistance as well?
Yes,
Okay,
yep.
good. Have they been receptive?
This year I haven't heard back yet, but yes, they have, and they've contributed as well, yeah.
I understand the 5% increase, and it makes sense to consider that before it sets in. Some of the paperwork that we received for electronic work was the revenue and the expenses. And I was looking at this, perhaps you could help me through this, I didn't understand something.
Sure.
It says as of 7/31/2026, and I looked at the total revenue, it was just shy of 3 million, 2,954,000 for revenue, and then expenses.
That should be the that would,
Expenses happen to be less than that, 2,480,000. So which means that there's more revenue than expenses. So I just,
yeah, that
which kind
doesn't,
of made me think, oh, that's strange. Because
Yeah.
you're coming in here to request monies, but you have
Okay.
more than enough money to cover
do you
your
have
total
that
expenses.
paperwork? I guess I haven't.
No, it's just the electronic work that was
That was
sent to us. And maybe I'm just looking at it incorrectly, but it's as of 7/31/2026 is the first set of numbers that we have.
Yeah, we
It's a
do.
trial balance sheets that were submitted with
Oh.
the application.
Okay, yeah, that's, I'd have to get back to you. I know that's not the case. We make about 8% on our local share.
currently that last year, and so far in this year, we're projected to make 8% of what our revenue from our expenses. So I apologize. I don't know if I uploaded the wrong thing, or I kind of got that from our fiscal department, so my apologies. I should have reviewed it prior. So yeah, we're on track. We're not making our 10% that we're required even this year.
I do say if you look at the 2025, it's pretty close, so there just may be some expenses that haven't been paid out.
And I'm wondering too, Joe, it looks like that trial balance is as of 7/31, so I think to Morgan's point, maybe there's expenses that are
Because
still
there
to
is
come
that
out.
gap for 26, but 25 is.
Still couldn't meet.
Hence the question.
But that's just assuming, so that's just assuming. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. 2% to go.
Further questions?
Very good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have
Right.
Oakdale Cemetery Association.
I've been sitting, I'm gonna stand.
Okay,
I'd like to thank you for having us. We're a fairly new board, unfortunately. James Dirty, our previous secretary, passed away 8 months ago. And my only hope was Dr. Wilkins. We know where he's at, so. I am the new president of the Oakdale Cemetery Association. On behalf of the Oakdale Cemetery, I'm ready to respectfully request some support. Our lawnmower broke, we didn't have a mower. Morgan Terpstra, we talked to him to, one, see if he'd be interested in mowing it for us and what it would cost. We were gonna open it up to the other ones and get bids on it. It takes about 20 hours to mow the cemetery.
20.
And, the cost on that was significant. And not only that is, we didn't have a mower, he said he would mow it for us, so we killed 2 birds with 1 stone. We did buy a new mower. I talked with Altos in Central Village and Greenwood, and they gave us a very, very good deal on a new mower, so we did get a new mower. I did start GoFundMe, and there is $2,785 that we've got from the community. They're slowly still coming in, a little bit here and there. So with that being said, we paid $11,703 for the mower, which leaves us $8,918 left to pay on that mower. Our backhoe is in need of some service as well. The carburetor's not running right. So I had asked for $10,000. That was to get the carburetor fixed. Oakdale Cemetery has been here for a long time. And I got lots of family in there. Didn't get something. So I had something.
sure.
He didn't mention people that have gone down to mow, weed whack. I myself have spent probably during the summer 40 to 60 hours where I've taken my mower down there, my weed whacker, and cleaned up headstones and helped mow during this time period over the last, I don't know, 10, 11 years that I've been doing this to help out. And there's not very many that come down and do that. We had one year where a large group came in with their mowers and weed whackers and came along and helped clean the whole thing up in one day. So
It's about 34 acres, so you think of,
34.
and I don't know how many headstones are in there, but it takes a long time to mow and weed whack around every one of them. So we did get it's a 61-inch deck, rear discharge, so you're not blowing grass all over the headstones. Try and make it a little easier. We're just asking for some help. I don't have a lot of paperwork. We've been meeting weekly, trying to get caught up. We were down to 3 members on the board, and they were almost ready to
come in here and pretty much say we're throwing in the towel, we're gonna just give up. And, a few other members, myself, stepped up and said, no, we don't wanna have to give this to the city of Crookston, we wanna keep pursuing it, we wanna, make it a memorable place, so.
I'm curious, thank you for coming in here, by the way. We like walking down there, through that area. So when someone buys a grave, site, then some of that money goes to an endowment care fund, right?
Correct.
And doesn't that money, the interest of that, not the principal,
The
would go to taking care of the weeding and the mowing?
Correct, but what we have in our perpetual care fund doesn't even come close to take care of that cemetery.
So my question is that if, for example, this is approved, and the lawnmower, the extra money is approved, then what about in the future then? Is it gonna be stable in the long run after this?
That's what we're working right now. Like I said, we've only been at this about 3 months. We hired, Ryan Litwey. I don't know if you know him. He's going through all the books. And he is going through and trying to, he's gonna be doing payroll. He's gonna be doing our quarterly and annual, reports, pretty much, 990 form, trying to get caught up on everything. We kind of stepped into this and we didn't realize how bad it was when we stepped in. And we took this week off, Roxcar Day, so I did get to relax for once. But no, we have been pushing really hard, trying to get caught up. And I see it on CareX and I'm like, it doesn't hurt to apply.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Crookston Aquatic Booster Ox Cart.
Hello, and thank you for having us here today. For those unfamiliar, my name is James Pagashnik, and I'm the chair of the Ox Cart Days Committee. I'm here on behalf of the Crookston Aquatic Boosters to ask for a yearly request of $6,000. I'm joined here today by next year's chair, Terrace. If I may begin with a few thank yous and acknowledgements, as the festival wrapped up literally yesterday evening. My suntan is nice and bronze now, thanks to some lovely lotion to get the burn under control. I'd like to say a special thank you to our volunteers, vendors, patrons, the Crookston Visitors Bureau, and our 63 sponsors, whose contributions made the 2026 Ox Cart Days Festival possible. Your support is deeply appreciated. We also wish to acknowledge the hardworking city employees who work diligently behind the scenes to ensure the success of our events. Our gratitude extends to Scott Butt, Ashley Rysted, Darren Selzler, the City Council, Mayor Dale Stainbrook, as well as the Parks and Recreation, Streets, and Public Works teams. As a side note, the bees were dead this year, and it was lovely. I don't know if it was moving up a week or if it had everything to do with the Caddyshack style approach Parks had in order to take down the bees. But it was well under control for the most part this year. It was great. Additionally, we sincerely appreciate the ongoing support of our local police, fire, and sheriff's departments. I apologize for the headache I caused this year with the second parade, but I was so happy to see it run, from someone who wasn't familiar with the inner workings of everything, see it go without a hitch so successfully and to the delight of our residents. Our executive board this year consisted of Jess Bankston, Tara Heiser, and Dan Erdman. A special thank you to Christopher Larson and Steve Renslow of the Chem Shriners, Jana Hodgson, Ray Cedero, and family, Melanie Lassard, Bo Rorby, Ryan Fritz, Tiffany Biermeyer, Steve Kruger, Jasmine Melsa, Libby Boucher, Stacy Bergman, and Fred Parno of Get Kids Outdoors. As for our numbers for this year, apologies, they're usually much more accurate than this, but we haven't had a chance to literally count the money yet. These numbers are for 2026 were estimates. They were put in right before the festival began. Depending on if you count the number of events that happened multiple times during the week, we had about 60 events this year. As for attendance this year, we can only go by our button sales. Our order was for 4,000 and we sold out of that by the time the street dance began. We had to use wristbands for the rest of the night. That's a wonderful problem to have.
In addition, we brought in about 700 Shriners from their regional conference in Grand Forks for the parade on Thursday evening. I'm told a number of them utilize local restaurants, bars, hotels, and Crookston establishments. Fundraising was more of a challenge this year than most, with a drop in sponsors and a few major ones. We've cut costs where we could and hope to see a small sustaining profit for 2026 when the dust settles and the grants are finalized. As I said earlier, I'm here to ask for $6,000 for next year's festival. Historically speaking, this is put towards the fireworks contract we have signed and renewed in the past, but in reality, it goes into our general fund. We have discussed very little in the way of a budget and major changes for next year, so this is all a good faith estimate of what we expect for 2027. Most of what we have put in is copied from our estimate from 2026. I will say, after the spirited discussion last year regarding funding of 501c3s, we began researching what we would need to do to potentially make up for a lack of city funding. We were glad it didn't come to that, but we did some work to see what would be necessary. Outside of some major angel-sized sponsorship from outside of Crookston, the reality is we would have to raise button prices. Possibly for kids, definitely for adults, and likely $10 to get in instead of $5. At a time when it feels like everything is more expensive and we're still trying to keep fighting to keep this affordable for the city and for the region. The last 2 years in particular, we brought in a number of visitors from outside of town for the music, for the markets, for the food, and the major events such as the parades and the rest. All of our costs have gone significantly up, and we're still holding strong at $5 as a base price for the entry for the week. We're trying to keep this as affordable as we can for families, but we do need help. While I'm here, as I'm not likely to address this council again, I do want to say something in regards to public safety in our festival. The former Methodist church in downtown is a problem that will need to be addressed. This year, the condition of it was bad enough that we had to rope off the front steps due to the spalling concrete that is falling apart and unsafe to even stand on. It would be worth the time of someone to do a comprehensive assessment of the exterior of that building. Time and weather and neglect have caught up with me. I personally had to yell at a dozen kids to get off of it at least. Further examination of it will likely show a lack of mortar, holding bricks together in several spots, especially on the side that faces the Grand Theater, but also on the American Federal side. My fear is simple. We live in what feels like the windiest place on earth, where extreme weather is the norm and a stiff breeze is going to come through and finally dislodge a brick, and it kills or potentially injures a child. We have thousands of visitors who come through the square every year, major events, traffic, vendors, kids, and I realize we have control over where we have the festival, but the fact of the matter is that building is becoming a public safety hazard in the town that has a history of buildings that fall down. I expect nothing this year or even next, but I want to point this out to people because a conversation should be had. I want to thank the city of Crookston, both its government and its people, for showing support for Oxford Days. I'm stepping down from the chair position, but plan on being heavily involved next year. But I want to say to you, the council, and to our community that being the chair of this has been one of the great highlights of my life. And I will always look back fondly at the weeks I barely slept trying to coordinate so many moving pieces, and how much I appreciate working with all of you to make sure we have a festival to be proud of. Thank you for listening, and thank you for support of the festival over the years. And I will now open it up to any questions.
Questions?
Well done as always, James.
Yeah,
Thank
well
you for
done.
everything.
Excellent, yes.
I'm not kidding. There was many things I didn't get to go to because I was doing other things.
Seems like it gets bigger.
Yes.
I always compare this to those videos you see that were shot decades ago of the person who's running around spinning all those plates while there's like high tempo music going, and you're just running around and trying to make sure everything stays up, and you just hope the small ones that fall, no one notices. That is my week, August 10th through the 16th, is just trying to make sure that everything goes about as smoothly as possible. And the little things that happen, or even just, hey, somebody dropped a purse in a porta potty. What do you do? Like the little things that happen on Saturday night that you have to take care of. So this has been an absolute joy. And all the things that Nell DeBoer has ever roped me into, this was the best.
I think the two parades are just fantastic.
What was that?
2 parades are just fantastic.
The Shriners were so much fun to work with. They had approached us 2 years ago to potentially be involved in something on the Thursday. And it was like the week before the festival 2 years ago. And I said, I'm brain dead, ask me in like a week, we'll talk. And I immediately brought in the city, I brought in Ashley, our then city commissioner, to sit down, and everyone was excited. Things were gonna work, things were gonna be great. And then the next 2 years of headaches and, well, we think we could do it this way. And, well, we need to make sure we have 700 chairs and tables over at the CSC. And it was a lot of moving pieces, and I'm so glad that everything worked out the way that it did. And I never make a parade. I never make it to one. And I made it to that one, to sit down for 45 minutes. If I got that much, if I had that much of a lack of sleep from one thing, I was going to enjoy it when it hit town. So yeah, the Shriner Parade was fantastic. I was so proud of that.
I did not notice a single plate drop, so.
Well, I'm glad you did not. I did, but my complaints are minimal.
Very good job.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question to you, Darren. I see on the expenses here, there's under the permits, City of Crookston, $500. Just wondering, is there something that we could do, the city can do to donate stuff like, something like that in the future? Or is there a legal
I can answer.
why we can't?
I can partially answer how that works. So what we have currently as an agreement with the city, if you remember a few years ago with the, I'll just call it the food truck fiasco that happened. And there was a discussion as to how we were going to keep all the food trucks we had already booked. When there was a discussion with the city, well, if a truck is gonna come in, they have to pay. And so what we decided upon was to work in a type of festival license sort of thing, so that any of the vendors that we needed to run through, say for the vendor show, but more importantly for the food trucks that we were having through, we pay $500, and the city we're able to have those food trucks up to 10, but we never reach that point. All those trucks come in as part of that license. So we get $600 or $6,000 from the city, and that $500 ends up going to the food trucks. We're in the interest of as much transparency as possible was the idea behind that agreement.
So the food trucks don't pay anything to come here? You have to do that to get them to come?
There are festivals, there are organizations that will charge trucks to come in. In the past, we've had, it's been challenging to bring them in without, it's one of the draws, quite frankly, of having ox cart days, is that in the past we haven't said that we're charging or we take X%. It has been something that has been brought up as a potential thing for coming years, but the last, since the festival was taken back over by Nel DeBoer, it hasn't been something that we have charged for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? As a Shriner, thank you for having the Shriners here. I enjoyed watching the parade. I did not partake in the MSA this year just because of work. One thing I did notice when we were watching the street dance is you have that beautiful flagpole right there by the little red barn, and there's no flag on it. I think the city should really look at getting a flag on the flagpole, even if it's during ox cart, but yeah, it was something you know.
Thank you. Next up is the Villa St. Vincent Benedictine Living Community. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us. Hi, I'm Cassie Rudy, and this is Lindsay Erdman.
Hello.
We're here from the
Benedictine Living Community Crookston, formerly Villa St. Vincent. We're very pleased to have the opportunity to be here tonight, so thanks for having us. We're proud to be a leading provider of elder care in our area. We offer skilled nursing, memory care, assisted living, as well as on-site and outpatient therapy services. And through these services, we support those that we serve in living fully and living well. So we're requesting funding from the city of Crookston to help purchase a new nurse call integration system for our facility. We are a large building, we span a entire city block, so timely communication is essential. This system would integrate with our current call light, wander guard, and secure entrance systems. These are all systems that we have invested in our building in the past 5 years, and just to kind of make our building, our communication better and to make our building safer. It would bring these important notifications all together in one place as they would be integrated. It would also reduce the number of devices that our staff are carrying around. Our staff carry around a mobile device where they get notifications of call lights or the wander guard or doors being opened on the mobile device. Plus they have a walkie-talkie system to be able to communicate with each other. So this would be one device with a headset and a walkie. It would allow staff to communicate with each other and as well as receive those important notifications. And it would be an audio notification, so they're not having, when they're assisting a resident onto the toilet or feeding a resident, they're not having to go into their pocket and pull out their mobile device. So they're able to receive those important notifications, and we're able to would be able to manage that system too in just this integrated platform, which would be wonderful. It would allow us to better coordinate with our team, communicate more effectively, and respond to resident needs more efficiently. The impact of this investment goes beyond just the people living in our building today. Last year, we served 295 people in our care, that were in our care, and we employ about 230 people. So, when you think about it, over the next 10 years, this system has the potential to benefit thousands of people in our community that live and work at our facility. And most importantly, it will allow us to provide a safer environment and quality care when we're giving our staff these tools to communicate effectively and respond quickly to our resident needs. The total cost of this project is $17,000, and we are requesting $10,000 from the city of Crookston, and we would fund the remaining $7,000. We're asking for the city's partnership in this because of the importance that this system would have for our residents and our staff. We have many significant projects and needs right now that we have identified. And in order to carry out our mission to continue caring for the people that rely on us, we rely on donor support and grant funding to help kind of bridge that gap. So, we can't always rely on solely on our operational budget because those funds are kind of structured to cover the day-to-day needs of those people we serve. So, we're committed to being good stewards of our resources and making thoughtful investments in our building that directly supports our mission. So ultimately, our goal is to create a safer, more connected environment for those in our care and a more efficient environment for our staff. So thank you for your time. Are there any questions for us?
Well, first of all, great revenue, $16.7 million. That's a lot. What do the other living communities do? Are they also putting in this new software way to communicate with people? Because this this isn't the only living community as part of the Benedictine. What are they doing?
So Benedictine as a whole has 37 campuses within many different states. And so Elder is the program that Benedictine is looking to go towards with this system. And so Elder focuses on water guard safety, secure front entrances, security cameras, the integrated nurse call system. And so Benedictine as a whole is going towards this platform with Elder to support those secure environments.
So each separate location has to seek out funding on their own? It's not coming from this larger region to say all of our campuses need to have this, so you're on your own to do that? Huh. Have you sought out funding from the Catholic Church?
They have funded different projects that we have as well. So for this project specifically, no, but other projects, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you. That's nice.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, next up is Polk County Humane Society's Scruffy Tales.
Hello, thank you for having us. I am Ashley Wilbur. I am the Board of Directors Secretary. And this is Emily, I'm the Board of Director. We are here, I'm definitely not prepared, some other ones have been tonight, but I will try my best. Again, thank you for the opportunity of speaking on behalf of Scruffy Tales. We are respectfully requesting $20,000 in funding for 2027 to help us cover essential costs and operating of our shelter. Our 2027 budget includes $11,600 in utilities and about $8,500 in essential animal care and supplies for the shelter. For a combined total of $20,100. The need for these services continue to grow in all of 2025. We served 129 animals in our shelter, and that was obviously being closed for the first 3 months of the year. So far this year, we have served 144 animals in our shelter, and of those, 96 have been brought in by the CPE per impound. So obviously, a lot of these supplies are going to go towards caring for the animals that we take in for strays, along with the ones that do not get picked up by owners or reclaimed to go back into homes that we have to then bring home and keep them in our shelter. So I know in the proposal you were sent our budget for 2025, our budget for 2026 up until July 31st, and our budget that we have prepared for 2027. Any questions? I guess I don't have anything else.
Phenomenal service. All of our animals that we have are rescued animals. So.
We've definitely seen a spike in animals this year that have come in from the impound, along with so many batches of kittens and pregnant mamas that we've had. So we're incredibly grateful that the PD is willing to work with us and help bring those in and get them off the streets and help. I know we are working towards trying to get some programs set to help with the stray problem, maybe like a trap neuter release, especially for the ferals that are hard to handle. Plans for futures, but we're working on them, so.
It's a lot that goes into it.
Yes, so.
Is that number 144, is that up to this point?
That was as of July 31st, that's how many animals we've taken in just from January to July, into July, yeah.
Thank you.
Do you use foster programs to help?
Yes, we do, yeah. A lot of the animals that we get in, especially puppies and smaller ones that do need a little bit more hands-on care, we do try and put into fosters. We do advertise it and hope that people are willing to help out.
Or a lot of our long-term care animals.
Yeah,
we
ones that
will
we've had in the
have
shelter
them
for
go
a
into
long
foster.
time. After being in the shelter for a while, the personalities change a little bit for the animals, so sometimes we'll get them into foster if they've been with us for a while. That definitely helps get them acclimated to a home setting again. So.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Karen Chair.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I am Catalina Diaz, the Executive Director at the Care Chair. We are here to respectfully request $20,000 in general operating support from the City of Crookston to help us continue providing shelter and essential services to individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Our shelter is more than a place to sleep. It is a safe haven for people during some of the most difficult times in their lives. We provide shelter, food, basic necessities, connections to community resources, and support as people work toward finding permanent housing. The need for these services continues to grow. The increased cost of living, food insecurity, limited affordable housing, and longer shelter stays have created greater challenges for individuals and families in our community. Excuse me. That is where our shelter plays an important role. We provide a safe and stable environment for people when they need to address their immediate needs while connecting with resources that can help them move forward. Our impact is very important. The numbers from August 25 through July 26 demonstrate the level of service being provided to our community. During that time, 4,619 people were fed through the soup kitchen. We distributed over 197,000 pounds of food out of the New Hope food shelf. We provided 11,209 nights of shelter. And 563 people stayed at the shelter this past year. What was that number? 563. These numbers represent much more than people or meals, pounds of food, or nights at the shelter. Behind every number is a person or a family who needed help. Our goal is permanent housing. While providing shelter is essential, shelter is not the final destination. Our ultimate goal is to help people leave the shelter housed, stable, and ready to move forward with their lives. According to our CAPER report for July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, we served 106 people. Of those, 85 people exited the shelter, while 21 remained guests at the end of the reporting period. Of the 85 people who exited, 31 moved to a permanent housing destination in the area. That is 37% of everyone who exited during the reporting period. For single individuals, 23 of 70 who exited moved to permanent housing in this area. That's 33%. For families, 8 of the 15 families who exited moved to permanent housing, or 53%. Those permanent housing destinations included both subsidized and unsubsidized rental housing, as well as permanent arrangements with family or friends. These outcomes are important because that demonstrates that the work is not simply about providing temporary shelter, we're helping people take the next step. Why the shelter matters to Crookston? It is also important to consider what our community would look like without a local shelter. When someone loses their housing, where do they go? Where does a family go when they have nowhere safe to sleep? Where does someone find a meal when they don't have enough money for food? Where can someone connect with resources and begin working toward permanent housing? The shelter provides that place. We cannot solve homelessness by ourselves, but we can make sure that people in our community have somewhere safe to turn. Why is general operating support important? We are specifically requesting general operating support because of the needs of the shelter are ongoing. The $20,000 will help support the basic operations that allow us to keep serving people every day. This includes staffing, utilities, faculty expenses, food, and household necessities, shelter supplies, and maintaining a safe and functional environment. General operating support may not always be the most visible part of the work we do, but it is what makes everything possible. It keeps the doors open, it keeps staff available, it allows us to provide a safe place for someone who needs it, and it allows us to continue connecting people with resources they need to move forward to housing. The one greatest strength the organization is the support we receive from the community. People give in so many different ways. The generosity of our community is something we are incredibly grateful for. We do not do this work alone.
Our request is the investment of $20,000 will help us continue providing a critical safety net for individuals and families experiencing homelessness. Most importantly, it will help us to continue the work of moving people from homelessness towards stability and permanent housing. In closing, when someone in our community has nowhere else to go, we want the shelter to be there. We want to be able to provide a safe place to sleep, a warm meal, basic necessities, compassion, and connection to resources. With the support of our community and partners, we can help take the next step. The ultimate goal is simple. We want to see people leave the shelter housed, stable, and ready to become productive and engaged members of our community. We are grateful to the City of Crookston for considering this request and for recognizing the importance of having a safe haven for people experiencing homelessness. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Do you take in the clothing yet for some people?
We do.
You do, still doing that?
Yep.
Good. Very good.
How closely do you guys work with Teresa and Matt over on the
At
housing?
Very closely, yes. It's almost a weekly meeting that we have with other organizations.
Just had a couple questions. One, in the form that we looked at, you had written the monies will be used for general operation and food shelf funding. Because you put food shelf funding in there, does that mean that's one of your most important needs?
I would say it is the same. It is the same. It's 50-50. The need is across the board.
So you're thinking 10,000 for each is what you're
Yes.
thinking. And the other question, something we had asked last year was, I should say first that this is needed, okay? But it's also good to know, since it's coming out of taxpayers from the city, is what percentage do you think of Crookstonites are we serving versus people in the larger region? Do you have any idea of percentages?
That's kind of what I did with the CABR report. That's how kind of all we can actually give you is we go through a program called HMIS, which allows us to see who succeeded and got to permanent housing with our success. If you see the statistics that we have provided over 11,000 nights of shelter in the last time we presented. But when you look at our CABR report, it only shows how many people actually stayed in the area and got housing.
So when you say area, do you mean Crookston or just like?
Crookston, yeah.
Okay. Another thing, and I know are we providing anything, and I know like you guys have a lot going on, right? Just a small amount. What help is giving to people as they move into permanent housing? And is there a way that can be worked together for help? Because that is something that I have heard is moving from the shelter into permanent housing, but there is nothing for them to take. And, you know.
Oh, so they are able to take whatever the donation room has as far as furniture, clothing. We usually give to go home baskets, sheets, towels. Those things are also, again, donations that are given to us that we can give to them to be successful. Anything else?
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, the Golden Link.
Thank you for inviting us in tonight. This is Shirley Nielsen. She's the manager of the Golden Link. And my name is Frank Lindgren. I'm president of the Golden Link Center. I'd just like to start out with just a little bit of a history. We've got a 3-page history of the Golden Link. I'm just going to kind of highlight it a little bit so you got an idea of where we came from. In 1985, there was 3 people in our community, Lil Snyder, a retired Polk County nurse, June Schaefer, a business manager at the local clinic, and Bill Keywall, radio owner of KROX, were approached by others to obtain a building that the senior citizens in our area could utilize and call home. The three met at various times in a back booth of the American Legion and put their thinking caps on. They dreamed and envisioned a place where people could gather, eat together, play together, and generally enjoy each other. They ended up purchasing the Diamond Building in Crookston. It was a nightclub. They looked at a number of buildings, and that was the most successful one. A number of them had stairs, and they couldn't utilize those. They did a fundraiser. They had a lot of sweat equity that went into the building, and then they ended up purchasing the building for $135,000, and they ended up putting $34,000 into it, into updating the building. By 1989, they were able to pay off the mortgage. They had a debt burning month party, and then some of the comments that are made, as time goes on, we find that our center becomes a home away from home for many. We have many people who have lost their spouse, so to avoid the loneliness and empty house feeling, they come to our center, have a meal, even if it's something they're not really fond of. Play some cards, shoot some pool, crochet, do some visiting, even shed a tear or two. It helps to make their days go by quickly, yet they are up and about and have an excuse to get dressed for that day. I talked to a person just recently who lost their spouse and talked about how important this center is for them. In 1995, the Park and Rec Department were spending a lot of money on funding for the youth of the city, but they weren't spending anything hardly on the senior citizens. At that time, they decided to start funding the Golden Link. And in 2024, we were subsidized to the tune of $97,000. In 2025, we requested roughly about the same amount. We ended up getting $75,000. In 2026, we requested roughly $97,000 and ended up with $75,000. As you can tell by our budget for January through December of 27, we've got an income of $296,000 and expenses of $314,000. That's with that $97,000 factored into it. Some of the things that the Golden Link is involved in, we've got an activities list here. There's a number of meetings that are held. The Lions Club meet at the Golden Link. Athene's Women's Group meets there. American Legion Auxiliary, Collectors Club, VFW meeting, VFW Auxiliary, American Legion meeting, Crookston Women's Club, DAV meeting, Sons of Norway. We've got AARP, drivers training. We got foot care. We got number of health and fitness programs set up. We got exercise classes, a lot of cards being played, a lot of cribbage, pinochle, something that keeps people busy. And then our expenses are constantly going up, as you're aware. Our insurance has gone up from $5,000 to roughly $9,000, I believe, in just 1 year. And so our budget is showing a deficit. We'll pick that up, but we really we're really looking at trying to get that 97,000 if we could. Any questions?
What grants, have you approached Polk County?
Not yet.
Have you in the past?
Polk County is a little concerned about contributing because they're afraid that, they've got East Grand Forks to deal with and they don't wanna start showing favorites, and they haven't been doing anything with senior citizen clubs.
But have you approached them in the past?
I
Within
think
the
we
last
did
2
a couple
years?
years ago, but that was the answer we got, was it?
Have you applied for any other like federal or state grants?
We, right now, our grant writer discontinued writing grants as of she just quit writing grants about a year and a half, 2 years ago. We finally found somebody that'll write grants for us, but nothing's materialized. We haven't gotten any grants yet out of that. If you look at the budget for the 2024-25, we had something like $47,000 in grants. Last year, we had 17,000 in grants. This year, we have nothing projected for grants. We've got an individual that's looking at writing grants for us, and we've got another individual that's we got two people looking at writing grants for us. But as of yet, we have nothing coming in.
Have you found any grants available and you're just waiting for somebody to write them, or?
I have looked on the grant website and there isn't any for operating expenses. And the two big ones that we were getting no longer give them out.
And that's state or federal that you were looking at?
Bremer and Mardag Foundation.
No, but where you're looking for grants, are you looking at just state or federal, or where are you looking?
Everywhere. It's a grant site.
We've got a grant site that that's got a lot of different, but a lot of them want, they won't give for operating. They'll give for putting on a program, but it's cash in, cash out type of thing, We put on a program, they'll pay for it, but it doesn't do anything for our operating. It gives us another project to have, but.
A senior citizen who goes to the Golden Link just to play cribbage, there's no cost to them, right? So they would only need to pay if they purchase food.
Right.
Or belong to the link. It's $25 a year for a
$25 a year.
membership. And
Okay.
you get a newsletter mailed out to you every month. And the newsletters are pretty informational. They have all the upcoming events and the daily specials, and
So without being a member, you, as a senior citizen, you can't go to the
you can still
Golden,
come
you
in
can still
and
go.
eat.
Right,
Yeah. Because then you're a guest of a member.
thank you.
So the clubs that are using it,
Thanks,
are
Frank.
they charged for any, do they contribute?
Other
Most of
than,
it?
other than their membership.
Yeah.
Well, they come in for coffee. We have a group of guys that come in for coffee. They lay out $1 every day for their coffee because the coffee is free. So that helps to purchase coffee when it's not donated.
Are you
And
asking about the meeting space, Clayton?
Pardon?
Are you asking about the meeting space? Like
Yeah.
using a meeting space, is there?
they pay. We have a rental. If you meet during our operating hours between 8 and 3, you do not have to pay because we're there. But anything after 3 o'clock, they pay. We have a rate set up. Members pay if they want to rent the building in off hours, and non-members, and
How many members do you have?
about 400 right now.
We could increase the membership, fees, but
But then we'll lose members.
then we're gonna lose, then we're taking in roughly $10,000 on membership, which is not all that much.
No.
But even if you raised it $10, that's $4,000 extra.
$10 would be about,
You think you'll lose $4,000 worth of revenue?
it's hard to say,
A lot of them are going at $25 still.
Yeah, East Grand Forks is 20 or 25 also, so it makes sense to stay comparable.
So service clubs, they don't have to pay anything, they're not,
Service clubs, well, we're billing them, but a lot of the service clubs are paying too.
Yep.
but that's a whole different organization. You know, they should, well, would they be willing to pay a fee to rent the club space? Even if even if they're having a meeting during normal operations?
They pay for meetings, meals, don't they?
Well, they're probably buying a meal if they come,
Yep.
you know,
Okay.
during the day. At night, I was post commander of the VFW. I just got, someone else took over as post commander here in June, but we were donating $1,000 to the club, plus we're paying a rental fee on it, so.
Okay.
And the American Legion, I believe, is doing the same, and the DAV is doing the same. And we only meet once a month, you know, for 45 minutes to an hour.
Sure.
You know, and so.
I believe what you guys do, I mean, it's important. I mean, I know my grandmother not here, but she was at the senior center. She was a widow for almost 30 years. Like, that was her place to go. It's just, my concern is sometimes what you're asking for is almost 2 levy points, if I'm correct. And I mean, right there, when you look at it, the people that are affected the most by property taxes typically are the retired folks right there. It's just trying to balance that out there. I mean, and what you guys are asking for is more than every other organization put together that is asking for this, so.
The main reason why this all got started, like you said back.
And I agree with that, I 100% that we need to support it in some way.
Yeah.
It's just knowing that what they're asking for, and then usually the people that are saying that it affects them the most.
I get it.
Is
I mean, I
that,
think
and
if you
then-
look up at the total amount that we stick in for our youth, it's a small percentage compared to that probably.
Exactly. I agree.
That's just my thought on it.
If you get a chance, you should go down and have lunch and see what's happening.
Yeah, please.
I'm not saying that what they aren't doing is fantastic, I'm just,
They are doing fantastic.
it is fantastic.
Well, the money that we get from you runs the senior center, whether we have food there every day or not, just to be open, the city money covers that. So they, you know, to just have the building open, not counting the food. It would be, that's what the city money covers.
This building is a very,
Old.
well, it's old, but it's a very important center for, you know, for
Yeah.
a lot of the community. It's not just the senior citizens it's serving, it's serving a lot of other people. Besides.
But to your point, Morgan, I agree. It's almost 2 levy percentage points, you know, and so it's a tough call based on, you know, the situation of our financial state of our city. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that financial of the city itself, it's just when I get the calls about the taxes and not being able to
Yeah.
afford it in their property taxes, a majority of those people are retired, which are also the majority of people using that, and that's what I'm just asking, is there anything we can do? Raise the rate, you know, raise your memberships by $5. I mean, $5 a year is cheaper than 2 levy points for somebody that owns property, you know, and I understand $5 is not gonna offset that full amount, but just when we think of it that way of.
They're only pulling in $10,000 with their active memberships now.
$5 would
Still,
increase us up to $2,000. Yeah, give us $2,000 extra.
I get that that's not the fix, I'm just saying that I think it's important to also try to find, is there other ways that we can find different revenue sources?
We are looking into different things, you know. I'm new as president of the Golden Lake, and I'm trying to come up with ideas, you know, I'd like to try and get a sustaining fund drive going. I'd like to, it'd be ideal to get an endowment going, but that's maybe a pipe dream, I don't know. But we're looking at, you know, we're trying to have fundraisers, you know, but a lot of the fundraisers generate $300, $500. I mean, it all helps, but we need more to operate on than just $500 or $800 or whatever.
Yeah, fundraisers this year are about 4,000 right now we've generated from fundraisers. We do usually try to do one every month. August, no, and December, no, but the rest of the months we do.
It's a, you know, there's a number of things that we look at, or our custodial is expensive. But when you look at it and you think, well, you gotta keep the place clean. It's you're serving food, you got inspectors coming in. People don't wanna come in and eat in a dirty place. They don't want dirty bathrooms, they don't want, you know, crumbs laying on the floor and stuff like that. So when you look at it, it's like, well, I guess we have to bite the bullet and pay that. There's a lot of things, if you look at our budget, there's a lot of things in there that are really, a person never really thinks about, you know, until you have that business operating, and you need that, you need software done, you need, you know, you need supplies, you need, you know, snow removal. Snow removal is
A big one.
is a fairly good size, you know, item for us. So.
Is the amount you're asking enough?
Pardon?
Is the amount you're asking for enough?
Well, we could always use more, but 97,000 would help. But we're still running a deficit, and we're still gonna have to figure out how to cover it. But 97,000 would certainly help versus, you know, lesser amount.
Well, yeah, because the expenses of just, without the food considered, our expenses for a year would be $112,168, and we approximately take in between our membership and the rental, the Sather Trust, Thrivent Choice dollars, the fundraisers, memorials and donations. If we get 30,000, we're doing good. So there's a deficit of $70,000 to $80,000.
And this is something that's been going on for, you know, I mean, over the years. Well, since 95, you know, it's been increasing as we go along because inflation's been picking up. But we did, you know, 3 years ago, we did get 97,000, and it's been dropped back. And that creates, you know, we have to try and figure out how to cover it.
I think Shirley, you've done a good job keeping that running over the years. And keep it up because I'm there now, so.
Yeah,
Anyway, you've done a good job.
we cut every place we can.
Yeah.
Do you ever use the building and then the people who attend the building for other purposes such as, I know we talked about meetings, but education, where there's educational programs for seniors, there is that in addition.
Yep.
Okay, and so they
They're
can,
usually 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. We've had quite a few of them, and we have an entertainment committee that lines them up, so.
and then if you're a paying member, you don't pay extra for that.
No, nobody, that's just there. Some of them we get through grants from the Northwest Arts Council, or, some come for nothing, some come and speak for a free meal or whatever, you know, having lunch afterwards, they'll talk.
I'm assuming you're also communicating with other directors, administration of other senior centers to see how they run their programs and how they do their budgets, just if you have been thinking of something,
Yep, yeah,
the golden nugget, right, which would go with the golden link, right?
yeah, we, get newsletters from other centers too, so.
So you don't feel isolated, you're getting ideas, okay.
Do you ever call them? Do you reach out to them to see how they are doing things?
Mhm, yep. We send out letters to all the senior centers and let them know what we're doing and check what they're doing and network.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on.
All right, any other questions?
Very good.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So are we gonna make a decision on who we gonna fund?
You wanna do that tonight, or do you want us
Or
to?
you wanna table it for,
I like to table it and just kind of think about it a little bit. I would, but
I'll second that.
I'll just,
list of our
I just wanna give a real quick, before we do that. So our next council meeting is on the 8th. We will likely have Park and Rec and Public Works present that night. We didn't do that tonight, just given how much information we have in front of us. That leaves us like one other meeting to go through capital improvements and likely discuss nonprofits. And we will likely have to have a special council meeting in between there to set the prelim.
Okay.
But just to give you a heads up, the next couple meetings are gonna be stacked and there's gonna be a lot to cover, so. Just if you didn't wanna take the opportunity tonight and discuss this further, we have a month, but we only have 2 meetings
Well, I
scheduled.
mean,
Is there any way to
So-
everybody email your, like, 1 through 7, your rankings, the amount? Like,
No, we'd have to do it in open forum.
I mean, altogether, it's 182K. Based on last year's numbers, that's 3.64 levy points. If you know, roughly that, if we gave it to everybody. I think last year we did what, 120 some?
113, I think.
What?
113, I think, last year.
Yeah, that was about that.
113,000 last year. I can give you the list, or if you'd like to know what you.
I guess I said it last year and I'll say it again. I'd feel more comfortable at around 100,000, but.
Well, I don't,
And again, if you wanna think about it, I just wanted to give you the picture of what the next.
yeah, I mean, maybe kind of on what Derek said, maybe we all come to the meeting and prepared to give your, you know, your
Like, I can have a
numbers
slot
and
for
how
it.
much, and then kind of go around the room and kind of come up with something, and then I guess vote on them all.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I can have it as a council item for us, or we could do Ways and Means and bring it back again to the council after you have more discussion, however you'd like to do it, so.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to do Ways and
Yeah, then
Means.
you could bring it back to
Yeah,
regular.
and then so, I mean, the next time we discuss it, I think we should be
Okay.
prepared to
That'd be fine.
go with what we're gonna go with.
Gives you a minute to think it through, sure.
This is not an isolated, whatever value we come up with, that's not isolated. We have all these other numbers that we're considering and then aligning that with what the levy points would be. So recently we talked about salaries and we had requested for
You're allowed
what
to
that.
talk about that outside of a closed meeting?
We've talked about other items that also would make a difference in levy points. And it's hard to make an isolated decision on this when I'm also thinking about other things. I'd like to know what all those are together and then what that equals for levy points. Or else I figure it's just sort of these isolated, we don't get the big picture here. I know it's hard to do because we need to collect all this data together, but then, you know, we're used to looking at all these sheets or electronic sheets. I think that would be helpful to me, or else I don't think I'm getting the bigger picture here.
So again, like I said, if we do Park and Rec on the 8th, the next council meeting,
That's fine.
I mean, we have the 21st that we could hopefully have kind of the big picture. John and I were talking about that this morning. Park and Rec is the last two departments that we have to do. Obviously wanna get input on capital improvements from council. Without having a special council meeting in between there, I'm just saying on the dates we have, the 21st, we could try to have the big picture of what it's gonna look like for the proposed budget. Give you kind of that idea, like you said, of where we're at with salaries and all the budgets. We'd like to have a special council meeting either that Wednesday or at the latest the following Monday to set a proposed budget.
Okay.
So, you know, we got a kickstart on this for sure, and I'm happy with the progress we've had, but it's been a lot. So, I mean, and we've been doing this without any special council meetings. If you remember last year, it was like every week a couple, so. But just be aware, we'll have to have at least one in there, so. I think we can do that. If you'd like to wait a little bit, is whatever direction council wants to provide. We could wait a little further into September when we see the big picture more before we make a decision, or how you'd like to do that.
That'll be easier story.
Yeah.
That'd be fine. We could do that.
I like to see the big picture.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We could have, yep, okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So we'll have an extra council meeting in September.
It'll be in September, towards the end of September. And we'll talk about it as we progress through the month. We'll talk about it again at the 8th at our next council meeting. We're doing good on time, but we're gonna likely have to have another one in there to set the levy.
Preliminary's gotta be set when?
30th.
I know I asked this question before, I keep forgetting. The audit that's done, right? And we got our commitment into the state to.
For 2026, still in progress.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I guess, we'll wait for the big picture. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. All the nonprofits, thank you for your time. It's a big decision to make, so. We are adjourned.